All right, our scripture reading today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verses 13 through 21. And the scripture says, "Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, 'Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me.' And Jesus replied, 'Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?' Then he said to them, 'Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist of an abundance of possessions.' And he told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, 'What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops.' Then he said, 'This is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich for God.'" God adds his blessing to the reading of this word. I have to admit that up till about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't think I had ever heard of Kate Spade or Anthony Bourdain. Names maybe have been a little familiar to me, but I wouldn't have recognized them. But now I know them. Now I've been reading about them because both of these two celebrities committed suicide within about a week of each other, one in New York, the other in Europe. And made me think of a few things jump out as a result of this, a few things I thought of. One is, that's very sad, but of course lots of people commit suicide. Now it's broken into the top 10 ways people die in our country. It's number 10. Suicide. So it's in the top 10 of ways people die here in our nation. And it's very common. What's the big deal then about these two celebrities? Well, one thing that drew my attention to their cases was what they had in common. Because they did seem to have everything that you would want. They seem to have everything our society tells us we should want. When we look at their lives, both of them were successful. Both of them had succeeded, self-made, and had succeeded because of their gifts, because of their talents. And so because of their success, they were both very wealthy. They had all the money they could ever spend. They were both, I think, very attractive people. They had so much woodwork. They had both had fame. They had lots and lots of people who didn't know them who loved them. All of these things that we prize in our society, all these things that we say are things that should make us happy, that should be the answer to the issues of life, the problems of life, didn't seem to be of help to them. And so this is a lesson that we come back to over and over again, a lesson that Jesus taught us here in the Gospel of Luke, but a lesson we learn from witnessing and from seeing people who have great abundance is this lesson that great abundance, the abundance of things, the abundance of fame, fortune, of respect of others, the abundance of all these things is not the answer. It's hard for us to believe. It's hard for us to accept that this is true. There's always a little part of us that thinks, no, that may be it for them, but that's not true for me. If I just had everything I needed, then I could be happy. Then life could be neat. Well, Jesus dealt with this, with this brother coming, asking for Jesus to be an arbiter between him and his brother. He was looking out and seeking his fortune, seeking his inheritance. That his brother had gotten the inheritance and he wanted a share of it. And of course, that wasn't why Jesus was there, and he pointed that out. I'm not an arbiter, but let me tell you something you need to be thinking about, and you need to be worrying about, and that is the lie of abundance. The lie of abundance, the lie that if you just get enough, then you will be happy. I'll tell you what he said. One thing that this does for us, one thing this causes us to do, is to see the world in a mixed up way. We do not see the world as it really is. We see it, I don't know, from our unique perspective in a very twisted way. For instance, when we start thinking about abundance, and this is true of this young man, he's thinking about abundance, he's thinking, what I don't have. This is what I don't have. And my brother has it. And I should have it. I'm owed that. That is, by the way, the recipe for jealousy. If you've ever had jealousy as an issue or a problem in your life, it's usually because you think you are owed something somebody else has. You deserve to have that thing somebody else has. And that's what causes jealousy in your heart. And certainly, this young man was experiencing. His brother had something that he wanted, that he felt was his. And it caused him to see his life from this crazy perspective. We all tend to do this. When we start thinking about abundance in life, when we start thinking about people who have and who don't have, we always think about and are looking at the people who have more than we do. Right? The brother who's got the inheritance that we don't have. The neighbor who has the car that we wish we had. The person who has the bank account we wish we had. Or who has the freedom or the fame. Fortune that we wish we had. And we're looking at that person and looking at their abundance, and we do not see and we ignore all that we have. That's not what we're thinking of when we think of abundance. We aren't thinking of the abundance that we have in our lives. So I want you to think about our life in this world and abundance in this way. It's from a book that I was leafing through the other day. My daughter's reading called Factfulness. It's by a sociologist, and he was talking about abundance in this world, and he was trying to get his readers to think about the abundance of this world in a different way. So I'm going to share this with you and how he went about this and went about thinking about this. So let's first of all start and think about us, that we, instead of being born where we have been born and being where we are and moving to where we have, so we're all here today, I want you to think about being born to a group of people called the group number one of this world. Okay, we're going to split the whole world, all of the human beings, into 4 groups. In group number 1, I want you to pretend you've been born into group number 1, and group number 1 is the poorest people in the world. The poorest folks in the world. They live on less than $2 a day. Less than $2 a day. And that's all they have throughout the whole year. $2 a day. Now, let me tell you this. There's 7 billion people in this world. 1 billion, 1/7 is in group number 1. And let's say, okay, instead of winning the lottery and being where we are right now, we have lost. And we have ended up being born into this group and raised in this group. Let me tell you what your life is like. Just a little bit about what your life is like in group number 1. Okay, you're making less than $2 a day. You're sleeping on the floor. You're preparing food by burning a fire with wood. And what you're eating, you're a farmer. You're farming, and you're farming the thing that's easiest to grow the most of, which is grain. And so that's all you're eating. You're eating grain every day. Or maybe if you're in Asia, you're eating rice every day, or oatmeal every day, or barley, whatever this grain is that you can grow in abundance, and you pray. You pray that you can grow enough of this grain to feed your family for the whole year. And let's see, if you want to go anywhere, you walk. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere. And if you're going somewhere, you're probably going down to the river or the creek or the water source to get water. Because that's how you spend a lot of your day, is going down and getting water and hauling it back to your house. And that could be 1 mile or half a mile or 3 miles. Who knows? But back and forth, hauling all the water that you need. And that's how you're living. God forbid somebody gets sick because you don't have the money for a doctor or for medicine. But let's say everything goes real well, and you have a blessed year. So then a great year, you end up growing more grain than you can eat. More grain than you need. You have a surplus. Congratulations. You are now making more than $2 a day. You're going to move now from group 1, the poorest people in the world, to group 2. And that's people who are making between $2 and $8 a day. And let me tell you, your quality of life has just gone way up. You are feeling extremely blessed. And you're feeling a little nervous that something may happen to move you back to group 1. You've been there. You don't want to go back to that group. So you're in group 2 now, and you've got a little stove that you were able to buy, a little camping stove. So you're able to cook your food on this camping stove instead of on wood. And you still have to go haul your water, but you bought a used bicycle. And now you can take your bicycle down to the water and bring it back. So that's cut your time gathering and bringing in water. It's a quarter of the time you used to spend. And you feel so blessed by that and by the fact you're able to buy a couple of more water containers too to haul the water with. And now instead of sleeping on the ground, you bought a frame. You were able to buy a frame. So now you're sleeping up off the ground. Man, group 2 is so much better than group 1. And you have extra food that you've grown, so now you can trade with other people, with your neighbors who have been growing some fruits and vegetables. You maybe even have some protein once a month. Maybe have a chicken for dinner. And so your life has gotten much better. Now you've gone from group 1, which is 1 billion people in group 1. In group 2, people making between $2 and $8, there's 3 billion people in that group. So now, if we take group 1 and group 2, that's 4 billion people. That's more than half of the people in this world live in these 2 groups, making less than $8 a day. And let's say you keep working. If things keep getting better for you. You're able to use some of your extra resources to maybe buy a little more land or hire somebody, and suddenly you're up and you're beyond that $8 a day. You're between $8 and $32 a day now. Man, things are getting a lot better. You're able to actually buy a motor scooter. And instead of going down to the river, you and your neighbors pitch in together, and you're able to have a water stop right outside y'all's home. So you can gather water right outside your house now. And your diet's got even better. I mean, you're eating this incredible variety of food, and it's so much better, and you feel so blessed because you remember what it was like to be back in group 1 and how hard that was. And now you have a mattress for this frame, and you're on that frame. You have a little mattress or a box spring that you can be on. Man, group 3, it's great. And now your kids, instead of back in group 1, they were working all day. Now you can send them to school. Maybe they can get an 8th grade education. What a blessing that's going to be. Because if they get that education, maybe they can go to work in a factory in town. And if that happens, if you're able to do your farming, and maybe a couple of your kids go to work in the factory and send money back, then you're going to move into the top group. The number 1 group, our group, it's group 4. People who make more than $32 a day. That's $11,000 a year. Now, group 1 had 1 billion people. Group 2 had 3 billion people. Group 3 had 2 billion people. So that's 6 billion people are in groups 1, 2, and 3. Our group, the top group, there's 1 billion people in this group. We are among the 1 billion wealthiest people in the world. You move into this group and suddenly your life has dramatically changed. You have got an oven. You have got a stove. You have got a sink in your kitchen. You have got a shower and a bath and maybe even a toilet in your home, so you don't have to go outside anymore for those things. You've got a great bed. You now maybe even have a car that you can drive to your job or help your family drive to their job. You are among the most blessed people in this world. And that's the way the world really is. We start thinking about abundance in our lives. We start thinking about what we don't have. We start thinking about what others do have. We do not recognize the truth of this life. That when, 6 out of 7 people, something like 85% of the world's population, thinks about the wealthy people in this world, and they imagine what it is to be truly rich, they are imagining you. And they are imagining me. We are the wealthiest billion people. And that's just the people that make $11,000 and more a year. And I hope you're doing better than that. You may even be in the top 500 million people. You may be even in the top 250 million people in the income that you make. When you think about this, abundance has a way of, like this young man, of thinking what I don't have and focusing on that instead of seeing the truth of this world and focusing on what we do have. and to recognize we are blessed. We are blessed. We don't want to be starting out thinking what we don't have. We always want to start each day giving thanks for what we have in this world. And so Jesus, he recognized this in this young man. He saw him. The young man said, no, I want this. I want this money. That's what's going to make me happy is if I get this thing. And Jesus did. He wanted to warn him, and he used this he quit talking to the guy. He kind of told him, I'm not an arbiter. I can't really settle that for you. But then he turns to the crowd and says, man, you got to watch out. Because the abundance of what you have isn't going to make your life right. It's not going to give you meaning in life. And he tells the story about this rich man who's tearing down his old barns to build new barns. And he thinks that's going to do it. And see, that's the thing that it's so hard for us to get past. It's hard for me to get past this idea that if I just had enough, I would be happy. Everything would be taken care of. Boy, I tell you, I was just thinking about money, but then you start thinking about, boy, yeah, if I could start setting my own, okay, I have this much money and I have this much fame, I have this much respect from other people, I've created this much so that people, kind of, wow, he sees something, he created this thing, and I can set that myself, and I think surely if I can get all these things at the right levels, then I will be happy. And here's Jesus saying, it's not so. It's not true. And time again, one celebrity after another tells us this. They tell us through their actions. They commit suicide. But then they're also very upfront and frank about it. That I'm not happy. That with everything I have, I'm not happy. I like Jim Carrey, the comedian and actor, said, he said once he wished everybody could experience at some point in their life of having all the abundance they want. All the money in the world that they can have. All the money they ever need. He wishes everybody could experience that so everybody would know that that doesn't make you happy. You see, that's the lie. Another one of the great lies of abundance is this lie that we could get there if we just keep getting a little bit more. And see, that's one reason is we always think, it never proves itself wrong, right? Because we never get enough. And so we're never proven that this doesn't do it. This isn't going to take care of it. We just know we need a little bit more. We keep thinking if we just get a little bit more, then it'll be taken care of. Then finally we'll be happy. Of course, this is the great lie. And one of the problems with it is that we end up focusing and blaming what we don't have in life, thinking, oh man, why am I not happy? Well, it's because I don't have this. It's because I don't have that. It's because my bank account looks like this. It's because my car looks like that. And that's why I'm not happy. And that's just not true. It's because we're not seeking out real abundance in our lives. And that is what makes us happy. There is the abundance of things that it's easy to fall for. It's very hard to believe that isn't going to do it for us, that isn't going to make us happy. But it's not. It's a greater abundance. It's the truer abundance. It's being able to be close to God through His Son, Jesus Christ. And the way we do that is by being close to one another. That's it. That is real abundance. The sad thing about this man who tore down the old barns to build new barns is that he never connected with anyone. He never grew in his relationships with those around him. He never found this connection by being generous with other people. He never felt that. He never felt the joy of generosity. It's the tragedy of the brother. Here comes this brother, and what does he have? He has got the greatest thing that you can have. He has a sibling. And maybe a sibling who loves him. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say, yes, this sibling loves him. All he can think about is what he doesn't have. Instead of focusing on what he does, the great blessings that he does have. So that's what we can do today. And that's how we can fight this. I tell you, if we ever feel ourselves being like the rich man, focused in on what we have or what we don't have and always wanting more, and we want to break out of that, well, Jesus gives us a great way to do it. So one way we can do that is if we're ever feeling covetous, greedy about anything in our lives, well, then give that thing away. Get rid of it. The rich young ruler, that's what was his That was Jesus' half. Zacchaeus, it was less than that. It wasn't. It was in everything. It was half. For other people, it was 10%. But the idea is being able to give away and have that experience of generosity that's going to break the spell of abundance, of believing that this is going to make you happy. Now I'm going to give a portion of this away, and in doing that, I'm going to be happy. By giving things away, I'm going to be happy. And I'm not just your things, your time, your talents, your gifts. Being generous with these things. Being generous with your friendship. Making more friends in life. Being generous with your family. And the way you treat them, and the way you love them, and the way you show them and give them love. To be generous in that way. I know we can defeat this desire for abundance by simply being willing to be generous with the things that we really want to hold on to for ourselves. But we can also do it by then focusing on those things that are most important in life. Realizing the difference between abundance, as the world talks about it, and real abundance. And that's what I want for you, and that's what I want for me. I want real abundance. I want us to be able to feel and to know that we are growing in the ways that really, truly make us happy and bring us joy and bring us real contentment in this world. So that's what I want for you this week and in all the weeks ahead, is for you to be thinking about this and considering what is it that you are trying to get and acquire. What kind of abundance do you want in your life? Well, I'm praying that you're going to go out there this week and look for the kind of abundance that really matters, that really brings joy, a closeness to God, by seeking out closeness to other people. And that's my prayer for you. Let's pray together. Loving God, we do give thanks for the abundance that you have given us. You have blessed us, Lord. We have found ourselves here in this place of abundance, and Lord, we give you thanks for that. Lord, thank you for all that we have received. Lord, help us then to also be able to find ways to find real abundance in our lives by being generous with what we have been given and by seeking out what is truly important in life. Lord, you're giving us that chance right now to come forward here to this table, to bring forward our gifts to you, and to give, but also to receive and to recognize we are a part of a community of faith as we come around this table, as we share this meal together. Lord, help us to sense true and real abundance in this symbolic meal we share now, this little pinch of bread, this drop of juice. Help us to see the true abundance that exists there as we join together in this time and in this meal. It is in Jesus Christ's name we pray.